everyone, welcome to today's tutorial where we're going to talk about the create display entity. Now before we're going to go into that, we click on the toolbox and we're going to make sure that show display entity gizmos is on. That will help you see the white box that we're going to use. If we now press the left alt, we see above here the create display entity. We go in there, we have three options. First we have an item display. Then we have a block and then we have text. So we're going to begin with the item display. So we go to the entity display and here we can change out our item. I would usually not use this for blocks, but since I'm also still learning while making this, there might be a different opinion in a few weeks. So I'm going for a sword. And if I now press done, you can see it's spawning where I'm standing and you see that little white dot. Remember earlier when I told you to click something on in the box? If you press your left alt, you go in the box and this one should be off, then it's gone and you can't do anything with it. That's why we need to leave it on. Well, this is the normal one and I'm going to show you what happens. If we go in here, we take another sword. Let's put it on head and then we click on done. It's definitely on head height. This also helps when you're placing things like helmets and stuff. Or when you have made your own entity and you're gonna code it, then it will definitely be helpful if you use the right setting for this. But I'm more of a builder, so I don't use that. To remove these items, you can just right click them and you can just click remove. You can also left click them and press delete. So it's just more what your preference is. Now if we press the left alt again, we go into create entity display. You also have additional settings. We're gonna go in that later, but we also have the block display. Just let me go for wool. There we go. Principle works the same. Just like you might have seen before when I clicked on it. If you click with the left mouse button, you see this works the way as you probably think it is. If you click and hold this down, you can drag it up, you can drag it down, you can rotate it by clicking and holding it, and you can also make it bigger and smaller by using your left control on this little box. So I can make them teeny tiny like they're confetti, or really big like they're a bouncy ball. This is really cool. And then we can also turn it a little bit. These do count as entities, so don't make too many of them in your creative world because it will lag you out. Now if we right click this, you see this whole display with things that are on there. So let's quickly go through them. So if we go into edit properties, additional settings, the only thing I've used from here is the override brightness, and that has to do with if I move the block down here, you see that it gets dark. If I now right click it, go editing properties, additional settings, override brightness, then we can make it so it's less dark. And there we go. So that makes my block a lot lighter. Now, if we go into edit transformation, we can manually switch up the scale here by saying I want this to be twice as big, just a normal one, and then be done with it. We can also rotate it with that, but we don't have to, because we can also just do it like this, like I showed you guys earlier. If I want to say I want to like reset everything for what I just did, I can click here on reset. If I want to be like, well, I want to have it back, the rotation is this one, back to the normal scale, then we're talking about this one. And there we have it. The Gizmo mode has more to do with moving this. Here you always see the arrows go up or to the sides or down. If I go on here, right click, and I put this on local. Wait, let me first turn it so it's sideways, yes. If we now go back with the right click and we go here to local, then you can see that these arrows actually moved with it, which is really handy for something like roofs or little support beams. Duplicate basically does what it says, because now I have 2. And if I right click on this, I can also say remove. What I can also do after I've duplicated them, I can also say I'm gonna right click and I'm gonna group them. This is the range with how many blocks there needs to be between them, so I can just, and then you click on nearby in range. Yeah, so now they're grouped, and if I now move them, I have 2. Now if I then right click again and I go on grouping, I can ungroup them, so then we have 2 of them again. We could also have duplicated them and then again made that one bigger group. The copy summon command is giving you a command that you can actually use for command block. So if you want to have something that just disappears in a a creative world with commands, you can just copy this over into your command block. This is, by the way, although Axiom itself is a mod, you can do this in vanilla. It shouldn't be a real problem to play with it. Now, if we right click it again, it also copy coordinates. Yeah, they're also gonna be in here. So if you really need to share. So then we have the copy transform command. And that's basically more for our coders. If we then clip the code in that we got, this can not only be used for command blocks, I believe, but this can also be used for coders to make this as an entity that can actually move. But this is out of my league because I'm more of a builder. But this could be a really fun side project to do for other people. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna remove you and we're gonna bring you back. Now, another thing to note, you can also move it to where you click with the right mouse button. If I'm gonna put you like this. Thing is, you can still walk through these. So that might be something that you don't like. In that case, you can just put another block underneath it, like a slab. So let's place the slab over here and let's move this one over to this. So now I can literally stand on this. There is only one problem. My block is glitchy there because it's too small. So left control, you click on a little block and you can just make it a size bigger on all sides. Just drag it a little bit out. Yeah, now we can just walk over this. Okay, now we have done our secret half slab. I'm gonna show you some of the functionalities this has. Now again, if we want to turn it off, left alt, toolbox, show display entity gizmos. Off. And it's gone. So nobody will see it. Okay, so what I really want to make is a well, a wishing well. Now, I can get quite far with just the use of the vanilla block. But I've decided to use the entities to make more roundish blocks, like here on the corners. I decided to add some beams to the wood, and I've decided to make a more curved roof. Again, these are all entities. That does mean that it can create a little bit lag if you have a lot of them. Okay, so this is how I place them all around. It's a little bit of a mess, but I kind of like it for a non-vanilla build. And that just breaks my brain. Okay, what I want to have now is a water. I'm gonna put the water in here. And now we have our own well. And to make sure that it also looks a little bit good, we could still extend these with the transformation. Or we can do it like this and make them like a little bit better so they would be big enough to meet up there. If we want it. For now, let's turn our entity gizmos off and we can see what we've done. So it might not be the best build because I'm doing this in like 10 minutes. But But you can see you can make all kinds of shapes with it and all kinds of different things that you normally would. But you still, this is just a display, so yeah, you can run through this as much as I want. You can only touch the real blocks. So if you're making your own server and you have like a lobby, this is an ideal way to get some good props in there. Now, I hope this has learned you guys a lot about creating your own entities. And with that, I hope you have learned enough and you want to learn more. So you can click right here for the next tutorial, or right there for the stream where we also played with this.